Hello, it is me once again, and I hate to say this one now. We're in emergency stream mode. And I kind of say one now, and there's reasons is World War III is imminent. A world war is gonna come at any time. At the end of it was some sort. Predict the world war is gonna come before 2030, and they end up of some sort. And how's this exactly going on? If you watch on the end of the Four Simpson channel right now, which is he's still live, but as you know by hearing this on this stream right now from my channel, yes, he mentioned there's troops build up not only in the Kaliningrad area of Russia, which is right, which is this exclave, which is surrounded by NATO countries like Poland and Lithuania area. There's some sort of troops building up, NATO troops surrounding that area of an exclave, and trying to take over it. And then also got Belarus, and they end up sending troops all the way around, end up and get set for war within the Belarus area to be a war against NATO. In the end, at this point, in the end, you and United States forces are now sending their troops right into Ukraine, and they're trying to face American invasion into Russian soil itself. And they end up, which is kind of ugly at this point. And all we see Israel is now getting ready to soften it from potential going back to war, breaking the ceasefire. And in case Islamic will about to prepare for war against the United States. Recently, in the end, the Iran did not plan for war against the U.S. Means it's going to be all NATO itself. And then also recently, in China's now to possibly start a preemptive war against Republic of China, aka Taiwan, who did they try to get bring it back into the fold because the U.S. is not letting Taiwan go back to the Chinese fold because United States gave independence of Taiwan, which is which is illegal, and it's a People's Republic of China law at this point. And also North Korea is the North Korea is trying to settle any nuclear missiles and any type of missiles, and then America starts planning to strike the U.S. from North Korea itself of some sort. That means all this is going on right now. The end up is it might end up close to World War III. And yes, and I kind of mean it right now that they end up saying about this. To the end of let people know about this is the end up being the truth. So before they continue asking right now, this is the end of for the main truths. So here's how things might be going on. For North Korea's side of some sort, I might predict the end of like I said, South Korea and Japan itself have a powerful navy compared to North Korea that might not have a navy itself. It had to rely on China to allow to the end of bring the military to the within the U.S. to the end of try to some sort to protect the country. Yeah, this is known as a Korean theater to the end of some sort, but technically, People's Republic of China, Russia, and China in the face against mostly in NATO, combines the U.S., Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, Philippines, probably Vietnam. Because it looks like because they end up they're preparing for it too. Same for India, and India is also probably be in it too, and and mostly other Southeast Asian nations like Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia, and others too. Singapore. So this makes sense. For China, it's gonna be the same way, but it's mostly the China for Taiwan on that one. Because it is some sort. Yeah, so they were in the preparing itself. So the Pacific Wars are the probably the give reward probably for technically Russia, China. North Korea, and then Pakistan possibility with Cambodia, Laos as it come later in. He to help support China, then try to take over itself. In the end, for the Middle Eastern theater, I'm not be surprised if Israel and U.S. might be in a face against like Iran, but Iran's going to end a team of probably with Russia of some sort. Also, I'm thinking for Middle Eastern theater, then I might be looking at like technically the enemy. So I figure for sure it's gonna be Russia, Iran, and also the Houthis against like South Yemen, the Yemenis government, which is a Southern Judicial Council, with Israel, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Qatar, Bahrain, Oman, Jordan, the main government in Iraq to overthrow the regime, Free Lebanon Army, Syria itself, and also and lastly, I think the Caucasus regions countries like well Georgia and Azerbaijan, where there was Armenia joined sides with NATO. So that's at this point. Even Free Kurdistan and Syrian movements will also join sides with the U.S. For sure against Iran at this point too. For Europe, got all of NATO you need, you need against Russia and Belarus of some sort, which is and also get some supporting countries and it was in it there, which is probably be Switzerland, and lastly, yeah, Switzerland, and also and you guessed it, like Moldova for transmedia, and also probably multiple others. So yeah, so this is what's going on right now, and yeah, so so technically, yeah, they can see the recent news is that they the start was European theater first. And they see a huge expansion, a huge military buildup in Europe, especially in Britain, France, and Germany, in Italy. There's starting to get a massive buildup, huge buildup in Poland. But no, Poland's gonna be like the hotspot of all this because they had the invasion right from not only from Belarus but also NATO in the pretty easy takeover over Kaliningrad, formerly Prussia, as they end up taking right into that area at this point. They end up, which makes sense. And I'm thinking about after that, so I think this might probably do it at this point, as they're only pushing to Russia right from the Baltics and Finland. And at this point, they take over the land of some sort. And yes, there's Russian separatists too that might join sides of the West. Remember the free nations of post Russia form? They join sides probably with NATO, then they might help out there to get a full push into it, allow the military access from the regions. That means the US and others can easily get open borders, so not only for Georgia and Azerbaijan, but also not only pushing not only from right through Ukraine, and then also Poland and the Baltics are pushing right not only all the way through Belarus, because Belarus has a free Belarus movement already. And also Russia has a free Russian movement. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be in a straight down the sides gonna because of all separatists, because of the upcoming desolation may happen. Like I said, aka all the republics of Russia and any autonomous regions of Russia might get independence from this area because of desolation, which it kind of give you a lot of clue already. So so right topics. Wow. Well, as well, and I might be looking as well. Did they end up being? Did they end up? Yeah, I think nuclear weapons might not be used because Russia's nukes is total garbage. In the end, they compared the same myself. In the end, how much good it is with this garbage, and then with some sort. Russia tried to launch nukes on earlier in the Ukraine war, but instead they just launched right back down on their own soil in a catastrophic failure. So yeah, so technically, I'm pretty sure they end up because of drones and 3D printed weapons, and also in the blockbuster bombs and the heavy artillery shells, and even space warfare of some sort, and bring down satellite communication and stuff. And also, U.S. is in the rods from God to the end of trying to launch weapons into enemy territories. At the end of they have of some sort. In the end of United States does have anti-matter bombs under construction, so they end up there. But before any country in the world and it has that, so which means nuclear weapons I think is now obsolete these days because I think it's not going to be used either way because and I think it's no needed as some sort despite how close to the enemy territory is. So, like I said, one invasion and be it for them. So here's the thing, one though. So especially since all the troops is the build up all in Belarus and in Ukraine's only close to Russia anyway, because of the border, same for the Baltics and even Finland. So yeah, like I said, the Russian military has been heavily weakened thanks to the Ukrainian war. There's been over a million men killed already within the Ukraine war. It means Russia might not have even enough troops to get left over for a NATO invasion there. So which means yeah, and I think Russia really going to be like Italy really quickly, like Italy in World War II. Italy get killed very quickly and early and get out of the way before it faces against China. So it is the way it is. So because while not only had NATO troops itself, you got Ukrainian troops too, and then free movement troops, separatist troops, and they end up overrun Russia very quickly. For Iran, I'd not be surprised if they end up the U.S. might call all the Middle East in there, which is technically Arab Union, which is technically combined the countries like Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Syria, Lebanon. See, Saudi Arabia, that I said twice. Kuwait, Qatar, Bahrain, Oman, Egypt, Algeria, Libya, eh, Algeria, Tunisia, and Morocco. So, and also Eritrea too, which I know they're gonna be all in it against Iran at this point. And also, I know Afghanistan's probably be backup war against the U.S. with the support of China, so they can easily invade it. It's right top of Pakistan too. For end up, here's the thing, one now. This is right top as well. I'll not be surprised in India when they might push into Pakistan once again. They end up with China on their side. So that means India might open up from two fronts. One for the chicken snack and the right get into Tibet and this one, despite the Sunsul also fully right into Pakistan and Iran at the same time. It pushed right into Afghanistan. And again also into the CSTO land under this one right top of that too. And then free those other territories too, as well from Russia's dynasty too. And I found that for sure. Also, yeah, for China's part, they're gonna get China has separated some warlords in the end of waiting to break free from Russia, like not Russia, China. This one, like East Turkestan, Tibet, and Manchukuo, Hong Kong, and even all the former Chinese warlords. So they end up by break free from that former Chinese collapse. So Taiwan's going to end up might help the cyber Hong Kong Macau, but they end up use it as a base there, and then launch right in the huge invasion right into the People's Republic of China from Taiwan, and of course the United States, Britain, Australia, Japan, South Korea, Vietnam, India, and even New Zealand might open up in a huge naval invasion right into People's Republic of China, and they end just rapid advancement there, and they end up smashing them some sort. Similarly in the scene from the Chinese history from the Taiping Rebellion. They killed over 100 million people. And they end up called the bloodiest war of all time for People's Republic of China at that point. So it's going to be a deja vu for them. And then I found out for sure. Also, for North Korea's campaigns, all South Korea's troops gonna like to begin the Korean War. At the end of South Korea, they're gonna almost wipe out all the North Korean troops until Russia and China they swoop back into the end push South Korea right close to the sea until the rest of the potential forming NATO troops in the end intervene, but thanks to the United Nations, so they end up trying to push them back to the DMZ. I think this time, I think it's got deja vu. It's going to be pushed right back over the DMZ and then go right over close to the Chinese border once again for North Korea without launching any of those nukes. So they cut because of the enormous strength of not only NATO but also now because of the war with China. Right top of that too, India and others in the science also because on the Vietnam's going to go north. Back into China, and Taiwan's going to invade from the south. India's going to invade from Tibet, and then the support the Tibetan separatists going to push right into the mainland from the west and head east right top of that. So anyway, so yeah, and Japan's gonna like I say Majuku run Sumsum is a formerly a puppet state there then with the Majuku and in some sort. Yeah, this after World War III people feel that this will be a nuclear war. It will not be a nuclear war. And like, here's the thing right now: the only country who has working nukes is the U.S. and U.S. only, and they can't say why some sort. And I heard Russia they had nukes in the end that hit their own land. That they end up launching nukes we saw already. They hit for the end up right back at Russian land and end up without like nuking itself. It kind of never some sort because I think Russia's nukes is so out of date and so well busted since the time, so they never work as some sort. It's like a museum piece, and it's some sort. And now China's also copycat for a lot of countries of some sort. Yeah, at one point, China then has water in their launch cells and in their missile launchers. So, yeah, water instead of like propellant or explosive things, so there's chemicals of some sort. Yeah, they literally have water in there, which is kind of awful. Also, as well, then end up in China has also has some broken ass parts of some sort. They just, like I said, guns do not fire, and you literally have bombs that just kind of scaled all the way back since the Cold War. It's just awful. They never even the soldiers do not know how to fight in wartime since since the Chinese invasion of Vietnam back in the 70s. And they kind of mean it too. Yeah, technically, China has technically no war experience and also no experience at all in a fight in combat. So, in North Korea, they just fought combat against Ukraine, and that was a pain in the butt when they assumed so. It turned out to be a catastrophic failure on the People's Democratic Republic of Korea. So, uh, then, yeah, like I said, North Korea is on the recently through a famine and otherwise, and they now nourish people, and they end up became a direct nightmare that of some sort. Anyway, India with the within of fought recently against Pakistan at this point, and then also India recently did expose in Pakistan's catastrophic things. Yep, India recently just struck Pakistani nuclear test site with their missiles. And it kind of exposed in the Chinese radar systems on a hunk of garbage. So it kind of makes sense that they end up relating to the potential World War III, might be won by probably the Allies again. So let's see why. Also, Also, yep, Iran has no radar within the sensor. They literally do not know when the missiles are coming before hitting, and also in Iran has no iron dome built into their country either, like Israel does. So, which means Iran and it might not have any air power. The end struck down every missile that the end of facing against its path. And also, the Afghanistan recently got overthrown back in 2021, and he might not have any strength left in the face against all the NATO troops once again of some sort. And also known all the way, but Russia killed all the million deaths of some sort, but also Russia has separatists who then might facing an army there for war and their independence. Also, right top of that too, in, in the end of for sure. And also Russia has a Dutch disease, and also in even Siberia is sinking because of permafrost melt, and right top of infrastructure right crumbling down into pieces too. So technically, Russia is technically in no shape in the World War type scenario. In the E-way, yeah, the biggest fear for this World Wars on my land to is an increasing use of biological warfare, chemical warfare, electromagnetic warfare, and last but not least, yeah, in in the first World War that involved future tech like lasers, drones, and even robots. Yes, to say that right, robots. And then to see why. This is the first World War in the 21st century. This is going to be different than the 1930s and 40s. You know what I mean. So better to be prepared with the way it is. Yeah, any chance? So this is why the U.S. government needs to return the draft. When they end up, probably Trump won't not do that because it's unnecessary and even these days some sort. But seriously though, in the case of World War situation like this, let's see why we need to return the draft at this point on because who knows? So they end some sort. I think the World War is not going to be attacking on the U.S.'s main side land. I think it's mostly a world war in between Belarus, Russia, Iran, the Houthis, China, North Korea itself, and even Pakistan, Afghanistan itself. This is gonna be like the technical law. This is I think the World War will probably look like. It is some sort because I'm pretty sure for that. So because of that, they better be prepared and know what's coming. So they predict the war was gonna come by in a in m- like late this decade or early next decade somewhere. Means I be predicting to be in the years between 2027 to 2032. There's a prediction of the start of World War III. Anyway, anyway, and and yeah, it will be brutal by first, but because of the weaknesses the recent went through, to see what happened to Iran and see what happened to Russia, I think China and North Korea might not be as this not much different compared to this because they might have seen what it was in China and North Korea has at this point with the military compared to Russia and Iran. It's almost similar. They're all crap. So the end of it makes sense right now. This war, the end up came did end up being as bloody by first. I'd not be surprised a lot of people who did experience with men that died of some sort of very faster. Could they end up in the Allied side, but U.S. side it might be over a million really quick. But most likely the enemy might end up probably 10 million or 100 million dead in about over by less than 2 years because of the in huge amount of infighting. And also the possibility of billion like a billion people dead by over the next 5 years. This is uh, this is a scenario that I know some of the friends are gonna come because it is gonna be a life-threatening situation. This war that end up being so catastrophic and end up catastrophic by deadly, destructive, yeah, bloody, catastrophic, deadly, and also yeah, destructive and also costly on the probably the end on record when it happened. Broken away from only Taiping Rebellion, but also World War II as a whole, and to break two records. This war will be the howling and to shape this planet forever. At the end of how the world's gonna change and how the end is like. So some sort. Why I predict the Allied victory, aka US led victory, because compared to the firepower index of some sort, if it could combine all of NATO, US, even all the Asian NATO allies, which is Japan, Taiwan, India, South Korea, Australia, New Zealand, Philippines, and Vietnam, and all the others, at the end of in it, it will be to be the force of a titan. So it is, which means, yeah, U.S. might easily win this because I know there's some sort. Because on the Russia, China, Iran, and North Korea, Belarus, and even the Houthis, so that I might not have any chances of the end of winning this war. This is because their strength is just so one-sided, and also there's some led but horrible consequences, and the end of the way to between is this will not be end up to be a very very bad ending for the end for all sides. This is the worst case scenario, and then this will come to fruition, and then one know what's gonna come to the end that makes sense to all contexts and meaning about this upcoming world war. And yeah, like I gotta say, I know is this situation at the end of so life threatening. Really, and I do not know what's the consequence to the end of the for the situation for the whole 9 yards and the end of some sort. So better be prepared. At the end of what's coming, and otherwise at the end of some sort. This is an emergency stream, and like I said before, and then they give a lot of clues, and they end up related to this. This is a situation that ended up being feared for over 40, 50 years, and I think we're now close. And I'm into the start of a world war situation, like World War III, is gonna start pretty soon. This is rapid growth and the potential of the world war. So the end of so because of this, better get prepared and know what's coming of some sort. The question is the U.S. Civil War going to be involved with this possibility or maybe, but I don't know. I think probably not because at the end of it, because U.S. is in the get grown stronger when the World War comes to be. And any chance of Civil War might be well technically crushed. This point, so any chance of the U.S. Civil War likely happens could probably be absolute crush unless the U.S. is losing the World War. Then it's going to be growing, but any chance of seeing it's likely looking like being not only extinguished, but or even worse, crushed. So then that means it's 0% chance the Civil War is going to come for the U.S. So that's very good news. So the more focus on the end of with the how this world's going to change. Yeah, there's some sort. This is a different war because I know the. Do you wonder? It's Olympics, FIFA, and other entertainments are gonna be about blackout because of this? Answer is no, it won't. Yeah, the Olympics and others will not be and had to cancel all sport events attributed to the World War. Instead, it's most likely be is still continuing to operate within this time frame while the war was going on. That means those like China, North Korea, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iran, yeah, in Belarus and Russia, there's some sort. Oh no, the Houthis is kind of divided, and this one on the Houthis is also might be banned too. And otherwise, so all those countries that said they will be banned to compete for Olympics and even FIFA because of this, which would cause a giant shift. And it is against the country no notices at this point. So it really means this World War will end a change. How they end the think of this on it, think and look at the map to this day. This will be the end of the thing at the end that changed this or the change all world at the end of the no matter what for a huge reason. Better for the end I'm saying for right now they better watch out in the some story. Yeah. Check out the Forces channel and for any news and then for a pending coastal to possible the World War III type situation. So the possible World War. This is the end of clubs and they end up in the end the same I know as the end of I know the end what it's gonna be coming. And end up stay tuned for future streams and otherwise and future meetings about the pending World War. So stay tuned for that, and then stay tuned for otherwise, and they end up with it before in the any type of news on the way to happen in the case of then the coming World War. So so yeah. The end the question is South America like is Brazil, Mexico, some sort of gonna be in there? Probably be no, because I know no, I know those countries are part of BRICS. Same for South Africa too, but they will not be in that. Instead, I'm thinking they might be staying neutral in the case of this World War comes around. So the end knows is this because they knew how strong the U.S. is, and not only on paper but also in technically in real life. They literally can't even compare to fight them in any way, despite the way it is. And now they end up to worry about Cuba and Venezuela. And they end up that they can invade it too. Possibly yes, but similarly, and then end up seeing in combat like Vichy France in World War II. So Venezuela at this point, see for Bolivia, I know Bolivia is also weakening its support with the Bolivar alliance known as ALBA. So which means they can easily cool down and overthrown quickly right in the middle of the World War. So probably means that I end up seeing Nicaragua, Cuba, Venezuela, Bolivia, and Havana Park might be overthrown by the pending World War. So yeah, this is gonna be where it is. It's a fun for sure. Well, so when if World War's gonna be, what countries in Europe is gonna likely be in it? France, Spain, Portugal, Germany, Italy, Denmark, Norway, Sweden, Finland, Austria, Croatia, Slovenia, Romania, Bulgaria, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Poland, probably gonna get the start with this war, and then later on, I think Serbia and others jump in on the Bosnia, Serbia, but what happened in Bosnia because of the capital of Sarajevo. So if it Bosnia, there might be and they end up because and then they end up fight there. Even if Serbia's invade from the south, it's a Kosovo ally to Armenia, and because Greek and Turkish troops are going to invade from the south, from Kosovo to into Belgrade. Despite Serbia is also in huge revolution mode already to overthrow the government in Serbia, so I'll not be surprised. For the final 9 minutes, and they end up Turkey, and I don't know Turkey might be fought against the Kurds, and I know the Kurds might probably be joining sides with them. So on the Turkeys, I might end up. I think Turkish troops are might face against Russia instead of Serbia, and they end up not going to face against Iran because of the Kurds. So it end up it just makes sense. At the end of for this scenario right now, I'd not be surprised the U.S. might win this. This is a situation as follows, but it's because at the end of a serious reason that related to this knows what's going on. Yeah, for CSTO, the end of CSTO, which is Russian alliance might be pulled into the war against NATO, which is taking Kazakhstan, Armenia, Kyrgyzstan, Pakistan, and also